Television is not the truth. Television is a goddamn amusement park. Television is a circus, a carnival, a traveling troupe of acrobats, storytellers, dancers, singers, jugglers, sideshow freaks, lion tamers, and football players. We're in the boredom-killing business. So turn off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now. Turn them off.
Stop them. An idea whose time has come cannot be stopped by any army.
Welcome to another episode of Eradicating Programmed Ignorance. And again, this is one of my favorite subsets of EPI, and that is the town crier. If you have had a chance to listen to the last couple of weeks of shows, you will realize that we have been discussing just what the hell has happened to America since the turn of the century, the 21st century. We are a nation that is in perpetual warfare. We are a nation, regardless of what you're being told, that is economically on very shaky ground. We are looking at more than likely the possibility of a huge global financial reset, of which the dollar will be one of the first things sacrificed at that altar. We are looking at the biggest change in U.S. history and in global history when it comes to what we consider to be societal norms. Being in one war, Vietnam, threw this country into chaos in the 60s and the early 70s. Today, can you count how many we are in, either overtly or covertly across this planet? Can you even conceive of the number? Do you understand that of 194 nations on this planet, the United States has troops either overtly or covertly stationed in better than 170 of them? Okay. What we discussed in the first 2 weeks of this series were Baby Bush and, of course, Barrack Husein Obama. We discussed the loss of freedom. We discussed the shift towards globalism. We discussed the economic ruination due to the movement of industry from this country to third world nations. I grew up in Ohio. I know what the Rust Belt looks like. I saw this happen before my eyes. So we did discuss in detail, and I did give you links to additional information, both Baby Bush, who, as far as I'm concerned, was one of the biggest traitors to what we consider to be a constitutional republic in the history of this country, and of course Barack Hussein Obama, which was Bush round two, regardless of the fact that one says he's a Republican, the other one says that he's a Democrat. We'll get into that a little bit more as we go on. And then we move into the Obama years, whereby we're talking about the NDAA. We're talking about all of these. We need different, Bush started this all off by you're either with us or you're with the terrorists. Okay? And then we got the soft sell from Obama. Okay, we need to toughen up a little bit on your liberties because that's why they hate us and that's why they're attacking us. So in order for us to keep you safe, the bottom line was we need to back down on these liberties. We need to curtail them a little bit. This is a president who, via executive order, gave himself permission to assassinate American citizens he deemed a threat to this country. Well, without the due process of law, how do we know whether this was a personal enemy or a threat to this country? Again, all of these controversies in the first two of the three presidents that have occupied the White House since the turn of the century. So today we're getting into Trump, obviously, and let's do this, okay? Let's do this with some of the research and information that I put together in an article called Progressive/Liberal, You Are Responsible for the Rise of Trumpism. Let me say this again so that everybody fully understands. Progressive/Liberal, you are responsible for the rise of Trumpism. All right, you're going to find out just exactly why I say this, because it's absolutely true. Let's find out why. Let me start this off by saying I lay claim to being neither a Democrat or a Republican and actually subscribe to no official or structured party. That's another entire show altogether. What's the difference between a Democrat and a Republican? Pull a quarter or any coin out of your pocket. Look at the head, look at the tail. Realize there's something different. But when you go to the damn store to buy something and you put that thing on the counter, does the cash register or the person running it give a damn whether heads or tails are showing? Doesn't it do exactly the same thing in the long run? Okay, so you've got that. Okay, I am neither a Democrat or Republican and actually subscribe to no official or structured party. I'm an American. If asked to describe my beliefs, I guess I would have to say they are conservative leaning in nature, with a solid anchor in individuality, nationalism, minimal government influence in my life, and a firm belief in the wisdom of the Bill of Rights and the Constitution as the supreme laws of this union. So, as you can see, I've got no real pony in this race when it comes to Democrat or Republican. What you are about to read, or what I am about to, impart to you, is the educated observation of an individual, myself, with 3 generations of, and here we go again, perspective in a nation that is decaying into chaos, mostly and recently, due to a feeling of superiority and entitlement demonstrated by a political party/ideology gone spastic and no longer serves the will and needs of we the people. Isn't that what a political party is supposed to do? Yeah. So let's open up this can of worms and see what crawls out. The influence that the progressives or liberal Democrats have exercised over this union in its massive push, instigated by elitist influence such as Soros, to stifle nationalism and force globalism and open borders down our throats to the ultimate destruction of our sovereignty, has taken a heavy toll on we the people in the last generation, with specific emphasis on this administration, to such a degree that has many Americans angry and demanding change. This is the catalyst that motivated the masses to get out and vote for that change. That's right. Y'all did it. This is the very reason for the rise of Trumpism. In a society that has grown tired of a country perpetually sliding down the crapshoot towards said globalism, exacerbated by ignorance, social decay, and economic turmoil. Why? Stop and think about this for a second. Which type of society is easier to control? One that is easily excited by fear or trauma? One that is disheveled? One that is ignorant? Or a society that has knowledge, that lacks ignorance, that has intent and purpose? Obviously, I don't even have to say what the answer to that is. But this is what we see today. Okay, we see the ignorance, we see the social decay, and we see the economic turmoil. This has been turned up to high. Let us continue. Today, via progressivism or hyperliberalism, America suffers this advanced social decay via rampant political correctness. Yeah, look at our college campuses for immediate and blatant proof. I got to tell you something. If I had known this is what our colleges were going to turn into, all right, again, another whole story. And yes, we will do an entire story on what our children are being taught today, from kindergarten through college. All right, so this political correctness invades all we say, all we do, all we think, stifling and in some cases restricting free speech and action. We also suffer a failing education system that now teaches our children to be common core, instead of unique or special. And liberals have provided a social welfare system that provides all one could want for basic existence with little to no productivity or input required, for the price of unwavering allegiance or votes to those providing the bondage/slavery. And for the most entrapped in this progressive welfare state, they seem to have a hatred for many of the very concepts that this whole union was founded on, built on. Why? Well, let me see. Who are they beholding to? Who are their slave owners? Who are their masters, their puppet masters? Gee, this would be the liberals who don't want to see a United States, want to see a global governance, want to take down the borders, want to absolutely destroy whatever it means to be American, because to them, that is now offensive. No, I'm not exaggerating. I could pull out quote after quote until you are buried. Okay? It's offensive to have the flag in your yard. Okay? It's offensive to, and I could go on and on and on. These are things that offend them. Even now, we see liberal Democrats still rebelling against a fair election. Even 2 years later, with a vengeance, using unethical mechanisms or unconstitutional methods to facilitate riots at the drop of a hat, hate speech, death threats, fake news, system rigging, and stops just short of open revolution. Although even that has been openly called for, far too many who actually haven't got a clue. Do they really know what they're asking for? I've said this once before, I'll say it again. Most of the liberals out there, because of the system that they live under, okay? Most of those who believe that deeply in the system are those who won't have to give their guns up because they don't have them to a tyrannical government. In most cases, a vast majority of the guns in this country are owned by the independents and the conservatives. When you stand in the street and you scream for open revolution, and you definitely are on the losing side, by a margin of, I'd say, 20% of the guns belong to liberals and 80% belong to the independents and the conservatives, do the math. This is what we're looking at today. I couldn't even imagine having a conversation like this even 10, 15 years ago. Okay, so why are conservatives, so why are conservative thinking Republicans in general hated so much by these liberal Democrats? This is a question I stuck in there and I put it in bold letters because today, again, if you are a Trump fan and you wear a Trump hat, if you I don't know, if you have Republican bumper stickers, whatever, this can get you anything from harassed to beat up and your property destroyed. What country do we live in again? So let's do this again. So why are conservative thinking Republicans in general hated so much by these liberals/Democrats? Because they honestly believe to the core of their very being that all Republicans, from moderates to conservatives, all the way to neocons and many independents, are evil, greedy, fascist, and racist. They truly believe this. They have been totally convinced of it. If you don't believe this to be true, just ask them. Just ask them. Anybody watching the complicit mainstream media over the last 2 years, especially since the election, can find countless examples of these accusations being regurgitated by any self-respecting liberal Democrat with an intensity that exploded with their realization that they had lost an election. that they assumed morally and ethically was theirs by right. Never mind the fact that the numbers and constitutional functionality does not back up their assumption or expectations. Today, if we are to judge by progressive or liberal ongoing actions with respect to freedom of speech, theirs not ours, the right to assemble, riot, the ability to toss federal and local laws aside and ignore the Bill of Rights and Constitution are all within their realm and not to be exercised by the evil conservatives or Republicans and most independents. Again, one need only read complicit newspapers, watch the fake televised news, or follow the liberal forums on social media to realize that all I have just stated is not a guess. It's a fact. Trumpism is the culmination of past and recent progressive and liberal Democrat actions of a serious and societal changing nature, such as calls for open revolution, violent riots in the streets paid for by traitorous naturalized American citizens such as George Soros, openly attacking physically conservatives, gay marriage, transgender bathrooms in our vulnerable children's schools. Freaking really? Open borders, unchecked or unreinforced immigration policies, sanctuary cities, Obamacare, illegal IRS harassment of conservative organizations, democratic political corruption, pay-to-play/treason on a scale unseen, etc., etc., etc. That they have forced the awakening of the sleeping conservative giant in America. We, the people who have, a need. We, the people who are desperate for change. This is who you woke up. Change that was offered by one non-politician. Because a large and rapidly growing number of conservatives no longer trust politicians to any degree. And who was this guy? This guy was Donald Trump. Now, let me qualify this right now. Donald Trump does not walk on water in my eyes or in the eyes of any who are part of the Liberty Beacon Project. If you think for 1 second that any human being could rise to, at this point in history, could rise to the level of President of the United States without already having sold his soul to the devil on some level, without already being owned on some level by those who control this planet. I do believe that there is a civil war going on right now. Only I would tend to believe it's a non-violent civil war between some of these elitist factions. I truthfully believe that Trump does owe his soul to somebody. I can show you pictures of the Trumps and the Rothschilds chumming it up real good. Who do you think bailed him out of one of his bankruptcies? Yes, that's right. So, if you stop to consider, is Trump the saving grace for everything on this planet? No, I don't believe he is. Is he in a better position to do more for America than anybody who has sat in that office for a very long time? This I will say. Now, it's like anything else, okay? We're talking about what's happened to this planet since the beginning of the 21st century. We have seen what has happened to America. And those of us who have those 3 generations of perspective are in a panic. And if anybody out there, if you are the biggest Trump fan on the planet and you believe that this guy is going to pull off everything you want to see to make America great again, you're an idiot. Trump can't make America great again. That's physically impossible. Okay? Obama couldn't make America great again. That's physically impossible. Baby Bush couldn't make America great again. That's physically impossible. There's only one entity on this planet that can make America great, period. And that's you and me. That's we the people. And we are the people who rose up and said, we have two choices. We have Hillary or we have Trump. And we were tired. We were desperately tired of the progressive crap and the selling out of America that had been happening for 16 years. Yes, including the Bush years. So, this is where we sit today. Okay? This is where we sit today. Trumpism again. The accumulation of past and recent progressive and liberal Democrat actions of a serious and societal changing nature. The only thing yet to be determined is whether through the election of Donald Trump, we have in fact traded one tyranny for another. And the Liberty Beacon Project is going to keep an eye on him, and when he does right, we're going to clap, and we're going to tell you about it. When he does wrong, we're going to get on our soapbox with our megaphone, and we're going to tell you about it, because that's what independent media is supposed to be doing. But what if I told you now that all you base your beliefs or understanding on as to what constitutes a liberal or a conservative, a Democrat versus a Republican, on such recently popular liberal topics such as fascist, racist, blah, blah, is false? What if I told you that the definition leading to the perception rooted in the mindset of every liberal Democrat is exactly 180 degrees out of phase, or just the opposite of that perception or belief? You would obviously think me insane, especially if you were a liberal or a Democrat. There is a video that I want everybody to see that is included with the article that I'm taking most of my talking points from. This video was originally produced just prior to the election in 2016, but it does such a thorough job of explaining the points that I'm trying to make here that I felt the need to include it, and I wish for all of you to watch it if you would please. If you are a conservative, Republican, or even most independents, this video will add ammunition to your arguments that you present to butthurt liberal Democrats, especially the ones still throwing tantrums as a result of their extremely unexpected and unacceptable loss of power. If you are a liberal Democrat, and we can extrapolate from your recent actions, you will probably ignore or find some ridiculous argument to negate the logic of what you're about to observe. The only problem with that is the truth will always be the truth, whether you wish it to be or not, and regardless of who presents it. So, liberals, Democrats, the next time you decide to accuse your conservative Republican or independent acquaintances, associates, workmates, friends, or maybe even family of being greedy, fascist, and racist, I hope you will consider what was presented to you here and truly understand that no matter how much it pains you to admit it, yes, my liberal friends, you are ultimately responsible for the rise of Trumpism in America and have only yourselves to blame, if there need be blame put. But my guess is that nearly a single progressive or liberal Democrat will ever get this far down this commentary or this far into this show, if they bother to ever click the start button at all. So, this ends the three-part series on America in the 21st century. Where we go from here does not depend on Donald Trump, although he can get us on the wrong path. Okay? Where we go from here, and again, let me fall back on a point that I stressed barely a few moments ago. Regardless of what anybody tells you, not Trump, not Obama, not Bush, not Clinton, none of them can make America great, or America great again. This is something that in a constitutional republic, this is something only we the people can do, because we are the sovereigns of this nation. And when we forget this, and when we allow our beliefs and, I don't know, our Constitution, our Bill of Rights to be tread upon without doing anything, you end up with America just like you see it today. And when the conservative or the independent or the free-thinking base decides that they've been asleep way too long and they're tired of what they're seeing, you've witnessed the birth of Trumpism. This has been another episode of Eradicating Programmed Ignorance, the Town Crier. I am your host, Roger Landry, the founder of the Liberty Beacon Project, and I wish you all a great holiday season. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.